cool. Totally from perspective, man.
So, but I guess the first question I got, and this is the question I kind of I like to know the answer on, but from when Metallica first stormed, you were around when Metallica first formed up.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any other basis beyond McGovney, or was it him, and then it just went right to Cliff, and then that's how it went?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, James was in bands before that with a couple other guys, but no, that was pretty much it. Yeah. Nobody in between there.
Really? Okay. And then, so as far as the photos and so forth like that, and you guys doing your own thing and taking pictures and so forth, how did that come about as far as you, like, did you just go up to Metallica or go up to James or go up to Kerry King or whoever at the time that was doing this and say, hey, I'm just going to start taking pictures?
Yeah, pretty much. I'd see them, they'd play, and then I'd take pictures, and then next time they came around again, I'd have a bunch of prints, of the shots, and I'd give the band photos, and then that's kind of how I got in with them, got to know them.
Really?
And, with Metallica, they started going over their place all the time before gigs, to get on live shows and stuff, getting them fully plastered and stuff before we'd go to the shows together,
Wow.
Took off from there, yeah.
Did, now as far as like, when you, I guess I was reading from the book as far as like what exactly you guys, from Murder in the Front Room, I was reading that it said on there that did you start your own magazine up and start your own stuff and start doing that as far as like with all your interviews and everything going on?
Brian had his own magazine. The guy who took some of the photos in there, the other part of them, but I contributed regular to Metal Mania, on Quintana's magazine all the time. So that was almost like my magazine, in a way,
Yeah, I would think so. And then as far as like just the atmosphere of what was going on back then, with how big was I guess when Metallica hit, and I guess it would think they're the I guess the forefathers of thrash, but when that music started hitting, what was the reaction like with the fans? I mean, what was that like?
Oh, it was crazy. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was weird because when they started getting more popular and they went off to Europe and everything,
right?
It's kind of I was kind of pissed because I didn't want to share them with the rest of the world. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're like my own secret band that that me and a bunch of my friends were into. And the more popular they got, of course, the less and less we started seeing of them. But they always would, whenever they were home, from touring or whatever, they would always put a gig. Rudy's Inn was pretty much like their clubhouse. It's right down the street, like a mile away, so they could walk home if they got too drunk.
Wow, I didn't even. Yeah, because I didn't, like I said, with the Bay Area being the way it is, and from the magazine or from the book and reading everything I possibly read about it, I was completely stunned, and just to find out that you have way more pictures than what's even in the book is unreal.
Oh yeah, that's a drop in the bucket, dude.
I can't.
I keep finding more stuff.
I can't even imagine how much history you have sitting there. Just it's got to be unreal. But when you were close to Metallica and so forth like that, and when the whole thing with Dave Mustaine happened, how was that? How quick was that before Megadeth was like before they even from the time he was out of Metallica to Megadeth form? How close was that? Was it a year or two, or was it just months?
It was about 6 months.
Really?
8 months, maybe. It was pretty quick, man. He didn't waste any time,
Wow.
One thing that was kind of weird was back then Dave was more of a frontman than James was almost. He did almost all the talking in between the songs, and because James was really shy back then, so everybody in the Bay Area was really really surprised that he got canned because everyone kind of thought he was a frontman, in a way back then,
Wow.
James kind of came out of his shell. So there, a bunch of people were surprised, but a lot of people in the Bay Area, hung out with Dave, and they knew what he was like, and he was just, if the party started at 6 o'clock, he'd be shit-faced by 6:15, He was one of the first one to get fucked up,
Wow, I can't believe that. Now, as far as, when Kirk Hammett came involved into it, what was that like with Exodus and so forth?
What was he like?
Well, I mean, what was the... Because Hammett wasn't with Metallica from the very beginning.
Right.
So when Dave left and then Hammett pulled in there, did you know the guys from Exodus at all? Did you kind of find the reaction or what they thought about it, or was it just kind of something that was because all this stuff seemed to happen? I mean, very close to each other. It was within months and everything.
Oh yeah, the Exodus got pissed. Kirk had a couple songs that he ended up using for Metallica that they were going to use for Exodus, but he actually thought it was an April Fool's Day joke when he first got the call. He didn't think it was real, and then the next day, what's that?
Do what?
He thought it was an April Fool's Day joke.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't even imagine that. But it's because everything seemed like it happened in line, like it was almost meant to be. Like Dave got
Totally.
Dave got kicked out of the.
Yeah, he was only going to came out and tried out. So if he hadn't worked out, they would have been kind of fucked. This is right before they're about to record their album too, so he had to learn shit really quickly.
Now, did Kerry King actually play with Megadeth for a long? Was he an actual member of Megadeth for a while, or was he just playing around with them?
No, he was full blown member there for like probably about maybe a year period. They came up here and did like 5 or 6 shows with them. And when he'd come up here with them, he'd be all fuck Slayer and I'm gonna stick with Megadeth. And then he'd come up here with Slayer and he'd say fuck Megadeth, mistakes and fucking chirps and all this stuff, like that.
Right.
So it depended on the stand he was up here with, but that's one of the cool things. I got some of the only shots of those shows,
Wow.
Historic,
I guess, and I guess another question would be, when Cliff passed away, I mean, obviously it was beyond tragic. And then you personally, though, I mean, I don't know how close you were to Hanneman when he passed away. And, I mean, how did you feel about that stuff as far as, like, were you close to the guys, when it both happened? Or were you kind of, especially with Hammond, were you kind of distant from him? Like, hey, I didn't talk to him, and...
Yeah, well, they could have been more different people, man. Cliff was much more jovial, much more friendly and sociable and down to earth. Kind of not that Hanneman wasn't, but Hanneman had a much more dry, bitter kind of fuck the world attitude than Cliff had. Cliff was way more. Basically, Cliff was a much nicer guy.
Right. Do you think?
Hanneman was cool and everything, but he just kind of had a much more pessimistic view of the world than Cliff did,
Do you think if Cliff was alive, do you think Metallica would be going down the same road that they're going down now, or do you think it'd be a lot different?
No, not at all. I mean, there's certain things that people say that the Lou Reed album, the Lou thing is a piece of crap and stuff, but that's one thing about Cliff. He would have been right there. He would have thought that was great,
Right.
He was all for the experimentation part, but when they started wearing like eyeliner and started wearing the furs like U2 or something like that, he would have been totally against that.
Right.
Well, he would have said, they never would have done that, I'm sure. He would have said, what the fuck are you guys doing here, man? Look at yourself. You look like a bunch of fucking guys in drag,
Yeah, I can't understand it, but with you, as far as your own music career and being involved with these bands and seeing the history of metal kind of and thrash metal grow and become what it's become today, what is one thing you would think personally that do you think thrash metal is where it needs to be from the past or where it came from, or do you think if things would have changed a little bit differently, it'd be a little bit more bigger or a little bit less?
Yeah, well, Metallica, they're like, they're like a league into their own. I mean, they're so much more bigger than the other bands. It's not even funny, But I think it's pretty healthy now. It's not like it used to be. I mean, back then, see, it's like we didn't even realize how cool it was. It was when it was happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of in hindsight, we look back in hindsight and stuff. And that's one thing that's cool about the book and everything. I think that shows in the book is that there was really no distinction between the fans and the bands. It wasn't a big like rock star kind of deal. Everybody just hung out together, and we were just friends with them, and they were friends that happened to play in bands.
Right.
It wasn't like a big pedestal, elevated on a big pedestal. We held up to them and looked up to them, but they were just friends that we happened to hang out with. But as far as some of the bands that are still together now, I think like some of the bands like Testament and Machine Head and Death Angel and stuff like that, I think they're putting out some of the best stuff of their careers.
I agree. I do agree on that.
Point, stuff is coming back around again. I mean, especially upcoming bands like Warbringer and some of those, the younger people that are keeping the flag flying for thrash, which is great. I'm still so blown away by D.R.I shows. How many young people there are at the shows? It's amazing.
It is amazing.
I'm so lucky to have a crowd like that.
Because to me, DRI, when I was a kid, it was like, it was more with the Suicidal Tendencies skateboarding crew. You had them and oh yeah, definitely all that stuff. That's the way it was. And nowadays, everyone's like, it's. But to me, it's. I tell everyone to go see DRI or go see certain bands because it's a part of history. They don't understand who's standing there playing. It's not just a band. This band, DRI to me formed so much of the punk movement, and it was so important in that world at that time that I don't think some bands wouldn't have formed or wouldn't have been around if it wasn't for DRI.
No, I agree. I didn't think I'd be doing this point of my life either. It's pretty cool. I was friends with them for a long time before I ever joined the band. I used to roadie for the other bass player and stuff, and I would always take pictures for them and stuff, and we hung out a bunch of times, and they just, they had Chumley being right in the middle of this big social chaos tour. It was like 15 or 16 shows all over the States. It was like, 40 bands. It's like 40 punk bands, all these English bands and stuff, and the guy they had just bailed right in the middle of the tour, and he's one of my best friends, but basically I had to learn 32 songs in like 2 days.
Wow.
And my first show was at the Milwaukee Metal Fest in front of like 10,000 people. The most nervous day of my life, man, but it actually went over pretty good. And 16 years ago. It's hard to believe.
I'd be freaking out.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God. Now you said you're going to create, you said you're working on making a new book, or is that just in the near future or the late future, you think, or?
Yeah, unfortunately, the guy I did the book with, I think it was a little more work than he expected, and because the publisher guy, the guy that puts out the book, he's the one who's doing all the layout and everything. We're talking about doing something again. I mean, it's done amazingly well, but sort of like third printing right now.
Right.
And I think it's sold about 72,000 copies so far, which isn't bad. So.
Well, I'll definitely, if you make a new book, I definitely want it. That's one thing I definitely want to get. But the other,
yeah, if I did another one, it
oh yeah, definitely, I would. But no, the big question I've got, and it's something I've always wanted to know, but how many bands back in the day, other than Metallica, Slayer, did you ever run across Anthrax? I know they're from New York, but what other bands other than Suicidal and I guess Possessed and so forth? What other bands did you have any contact with back then? I mean, did you get to see, did Metallica take them with you for a little bit and let you hang out and so forth like that, or no? Or
yeah, actually quite a few bands like King Diamond, Merciful Fate, hung out with quite a bit, did a bunch of photos for them, and Creator, so I got to know on the Four of a Kind tour when they opened for DRI. I still hang out with them all the time whenever they're in town. They're great guys. German band Creator, and let's see, Violence, which became Machine Head. They're good buddies of mine. We hung out all the time. Testament, of course. I'm playing with Blind Illusion now too. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
who is it?
It's a band called Blind Illusion.
I think I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, Larry from Possessed used to be in the band, and Les Claypool used to play bass for him.
Yep.
But they were around back then too. They were one of my favorite bands, and I jumped at the opportunity to play with them.
Right.
It's going pretty good too. I've been jamming with them on the side when I'm not doing the DRI thing. So, kind of more progressive kind of thrash stuff. Did an album in 1988 called Sane Asylum. It's fucking one of my favorite albums ever.
Wow.
And it's definitely a little more challenging than DRI music. It's way more progressive, more like Rush kind of stuff.
Right. Did you ever try out for any of those bands back then?
No, not really. I think one of the problems was I knew them too well, from partying and stuff. Which might have been a strike against me because I like to party, I still do, so to a certain extent.
So did I guess for the most part, You know, with you having the career that you've had, and you've seen the stuff that you've seen, and the people you've been involved with, and it's kind of a stupid question to ask, but is there one highlight, or is there one thing that you're like, you know what, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that one thing that's ever happened.
I don't think it's a stupid question at all. Probably the day on the Green, the big show when Metallica played with Scorpions and Rat and Ingve and Lion Cheese, and they played in front of like 50,000 people.
Yeah.
That was like a huge thing. That was one of the first times I got to go backstage on a big show like that, and that's where I talk about in the book where the Metallica guys said they only had like 3 or 4 photo passes, and if I wanted one, I'd have to work for it. So they had me do their dishes and take out the garbage and stuff. They were just fucking with me, of course, but
right.
I actually believed that I had to do that shit. But yeah, the day on the Green was fucking amazing. That was the time when I saw the potential for Metallica to become huge. You know,
wow.
They just fucking crushed that day. It was so amazing. You know, and then another show too was on New Year's Eve when Metallica played with Metal Church and Megadeth and Exodus. That was great because I knew all 4 of the bands, and I just went from dressing room to dressing room, just like partying my brains out, and then that was pretty special night. But I'd say the one career highlight out of all the shit that I've done or whatever, I'd say probably when Metallica did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
They flew me and 150 of their old friends back then to Cleveland, put us up in a hotel, paid for airfare, fucking everything. We had a roast the night before the ceremony, and it was so much fucking fun, dude. It was like, it was incredible. When I got a phone call, I couldn't believe it, dude. It's like, wow, Metallica's been flying me up to Cleveland, you know? It's incredible. I was like totally honored to even be asked, you know? And basically, everybody that they asked showed up except for Mustaine didn't show up because he wasn't eligible to get an award because he didn't play on any of the albums with them, you know? It kind of sucks, you know?
Why? I thought he was. Everyone said, okay, here, let's end this now. Did Mustang Wright kill them all? Did he write anything on that album, or was that just
Metallica? Oh yeah, he wrote a bunch of it.
Why isn't he not nominated with them? He was part of them.
Because he has to perform on the album. He has to play.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
one of the rules. Yeah. And he actually wrote some stuff on Ride the Lightning. Call It Cthulhu is totally Mustaine, you know, riffs. And I think there's even a song on Master of Puppets that they used to his. It's kind of sucks because, no matter what, people are going to say, oh, he's just fucking, you know, he's just whining about it, you know, he's just being a little baby, he doesn't want to show up, but I can kind of see his point in a way, you know. Part of their early success, you know, he wrote fucking half the shit, you know, with them back then. So because the rules, you know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they couldn't really do anything about it, so, you know, he would have been able to join him on stage, which is kind of fucked, I think, you know. He definitely deserved it, I think, you know.
I think so. So he doesn't, I assume, I guess, well, that's not even any of our business, but I guess he doesn't get any rights to that or anything. I wouldn't think.
He gets publishing for that stuff, you know. He gets money for helping write his songs, but at least their buddies that finally, you know, after all this shit, you know, he had a huge chip on his shoulder for years and years about Metallica, you know. He got Megadeth so quickly, he got it quickly together, you know.
Well, he didn't waste any time. No, Megadeth's huge now anyway. Megadeth's just a monster of a beast, but I think that, and that's the thing to me is that, have you ever met Anthrax? Did you ever meet those guys or any?
Oh yeah, I know Charlie and Scott pretty well.
They how do they? Did they come out quite a bit to the Bay Area and play? Did they hang out quite a bit? Though they're from New York and everything, but did you get
a little bit? When their first album came out, they played the Kabuki in San Francisco with Raven and Exodus. And Exodus just stopped them, I thought, but it was a West Coast East Coast competition thing, you know.
Right.
It kind of gave them a hard time when they came out here, but over the years I've gotten to know them pretty good. They're cool guys and everything, but when they first came out here, it was kind of a competition thing.
Yeah, I wonder.
And it's a hard time. They said that his mom was calling him and he was late for supper and all this stuff like that. It was pretty funny, actually.
Do you think Anthrax feels any heat because the rest of the bands I think are, you know, Anthrax is still doing the smaller venues. I've seen them. They played here in St. Louis and did a smaller venue, but you never see.
Yeah, they're out of the big four, I'd say they're the least big of the four.
Right.
In my opinion, you know?
Yeah, that's
It's not even an East Coast West Coast thing. I think it's more just their music isn't as good, you know. mean, they're cool and everything. Don't get me wrong, I like them, you know. I think Spreading the Disease and fucking Among the Living are fucking great records, you know.
Oh, that's probably some of the best. That's right up there to me with the others. But I don't know. I think that they just I think that they've always felt that they were never big enough, you know. And I never knew, you know. It was just something that was just like, well, and I think
if you compare their body of work to the other bands, I think they're just like way behind, you know.
Oh my God, yes.
As far as good albums, you know, obviously Metallica has, you know, way more killer albums, even though I thought the last Metallica album was great. I thought Death Magnetic was fucking definitely heavy again, you know.
Yeah, it's getting there. I'm waiting for the new album. I hope that it's. I wish. I don't know if it's just because they can't, but I don't know if they'll ever be able to play like they did with Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning. I don't know if they'll ever be able to.
I don't think so either. I mean, they set the bar so high on those first 3 or 4 albums that you know, that I don't think they'll ever be able to do that again. You know, it was just a different mindset back then. You know.
Oh yeah, it was.
Everybody's head was in a different space. But I mean, when you think of those first 3 albums, I mean, those are like the template of fucking thrash metal as far as I'm concerned. You know.
It is. Well, that's the way I look at it, and people don't realize it.
Yeah.
People do not realize if it wasn't for like 5 or 6 bands or 7 bands that started what they started and then doing what they did, it wouldn't be the same today. They don't understand. People don't get it, especially young people. They don't. And
and so many people talk shit about them too. You know, it's like you gotta give them credit. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, plus out of all the bands, they definitely take care of their fans and the friends probably best out of any of the bands, hands down. You know,
yeah.
The thing is, the Fillmore, the 30th anniversary, they played like 4 nights in a row. And that was just amazing too. It was just incredible, you know. I mean, everybody that ever did a cover song with, pretty much came up and sang with them. You know, Ozzy and Danzig, and that's when Mustaine finally got to bury the hatchet with them. You know.
Wow. Now, did you ever meet Jason Newsted at all, or no?
Oh yeah, no, Jason's great. I totally know Jason. He's cool as ever, man.
So I think that time he was in that band, I think was just the wrong time. And I think he's a very talented bassist. I think he's a cool guy, but I just think he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, he saw Cliff, obviously, but you know, but out of all the people in the band, when he was in the band, he was one of the only guys that always come out every night. He'd come out and sign autographs for the fans and everything and stuff, you know.
Oh yeah.
So Jason's great, man. He's the coolest guy ever, man. I don't know what he's doing now. He came out kind of with his metal stuff again, and then he just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened though.
Isn't he playing for? Isn't he back with Flossom and Jetsam? Or
I don't think so.
I thought he was playing with Celtic Frost or somebody for a while there, or Voivod or something.
Voivod, yeah, he was Voivod. I don't think he's doing that anymore. But no, he came out with his own band. He put out an album called Metal, so he let everybody know that he was doing metal again, and it was actually pretty good, and he was doing really well. And then just about like a year ago or so, then I haven't heard anything from him since then. It's kind of weird. He dropped off the face of the earth.
Wow.
I'm really curious to see what he's doing nowadays.
Well, any band would want to have him. I know that.
Oh yeah, no, he's the greatest guy ever, man. He's fucking best guy ever. I mean, he was fucking. He has pretty big shoes to fill there, you know, with Cliff and everything. But I didn't realize we were going to actually do an interview like now, so I kind of got to cut this short. But
you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I got some food I'm going to take care of you, but let's talk soon, and then we can talk more.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll get up. I know you're a busy guy, Harold, and I appreciate everything. And I will hit you up again. And I'll message you on Facebook again and see if you want to get added, and I'll so that way you can see the interview and all that stuff. And I'll try to send you links and everything and take care of it for you, buddy.
That'd be great. And I can send you some photos and shit too if you want to.
Oh, definitely. And then I hope you guys come back to St. Louis soon, man.
Yeah, definitely. Should be sometime this year, at some point.
That'll be definitely cool. Maybe we'll all go out to dinner or something, man, and hang out or something for a minute. But I will. I'll text you and I'll hit you up here soon, man.
Sounds good, man.
All right, you take care, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, bye, buddy.